Hello and welcome to another episode of Soul Talk. Hi Tracy, how are you?
I'm great, thanks very much. How are you?
I am very well, thank you. I feel that this is going to be an exciting week. We're talking about a topic that I absolutely love.
Oh, I absolutely love it too. It's one of my faves.
Absolutely. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about the Akashic Records.
Yes, I had so many people. It really enjoyed all the shows we did on wounds and everything else, but it kind of felt like they wanted more from it, and so they've been asking to delve into this one. So of course I had to say yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Akashic Records for me are magical.
Mm.
They hold so much information. So let's delve into what the Akashic Records are, and then we'll talk maybe a little bit about how we both access them
Mm.
and how
Yeah.
we work with them. So, from my perspective, the Akashic Records are a database or a library that holds everything about our soul and its journey across lifetime and timelines. So
Yes.
every action, word, deed, choice, all of the things that our soul have done, every experience, and we can tap into that to understand more about our past lives, our trauma, our gifts, our purpose, our mission, and all of those beautiful things. So I see it as this energetic space that is filled with light. My guides are there, the Akashic guides are there, ready to help communicate with me. So for me, it's very magical. So
Yes.
how about you?
Very, very similar, to be honest. The library has always worked really well for me as an imagery because I love books. Absolutely
Mhm.
love books. So that resonates really strongly for me. What I find when I'm teaching people the Akashic Records and as the world moves forward, people are seeing it differently. And it is important to remember that it is a personal experience. So although you and I see it the way we do, that's not the way that other people necessarily see it. It's a very individual thing because with the work that we do, spirit will use what makes sense to us. So if
Yeah.
you're used to reading on an iPad or a Kindle and doing that, it may well be that that's how it appears to you. But for me, it's like this great big library. All the books are vibrant and glowing and giving off energy.
Yeah.
And when I want to do a reading for somebody, it's almost like the book pops out of the shelf and says, "Here I am, come and have a look."
Yeah.
And I find it really fascinating how it doesn't release everything in one go. If we're not ready to see it, hear it, be given it, we won't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And every time I visit the records, I will get given something else, whether that's for me or for the person that I'm working with. So it's never the same twice.
Hmm.
Like you, I have my Akashic Records guide, plus Archangel Metatron is like on the door, if you like. He's in charge, but oh, got to get past him.
Yep.
Um, but the energy of it is so fantastic.
Yeah.
If you want to think of that analogy like the child in the sweet shop and it's like, oh, I want that one, I want that one, I want that one, and that
Yeah.
excitement, that's
Yeah.
how I feel when I'm in the Akashic Record. So it's fabulous.
It is absolutely amazing. And we can invite different guides in. So we have the Akashic guides, teachers, masters, they're ready to help us. And our own guides can come in and help us as well. So
Mm.
I think that is absolutely fantastic. The energy. Now, what I will say about the Akashic Records is you do have to be energetically in the right space to enter them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, for you, like Archangel Mestron might say, absolutely not, you're not in the right frequency today. So
Yeah.
we do have to take that um into account when we're accessing the Akashic Records because they are on the fifth dimension and higher. We, as you said last week, we're on the third dimension, right? That's where all our reality is. So as we go into the fourth dimension, that's the psychic kind of area. And then the fifth dimension and above, you can connect with the Akashic Records and other beings and ascended masters and all of those things.
Mm.
So it is fifth dimensional. So you do have to be in the right energy in order to access them,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. And I think this is why. you have to go to somebody specifically who accesses them regularly, like you and I.
Mm.
And it's the same with mediumship, like mediumship's here, Akashic Records is here. If your vibration is not high enough as a adept, and intuitive, whatever you want to call us, you're not going to get into mediumship. Well, if you can't raise your vibration enough to do mediumship, you're highly unlikely to be able to get into the Akashic Records because it's so different. But I am noticing that the vibration of the planet and us people on it is changing, it's lifting. And I
Yeah,
think that's why 2025 has been such a difficult year for so many people, because
yeah,
we're trying to transcend the energy of 2025, because the energy of 2026 coming in is so much higher and purer and stronger. And it's like, I don't know, it's like switching backwards and forwards between doing one and one is two and advanced logarithms. And it's like, oh God, this is really hard. Um,
yeah.
and so I think that this has been a very interesting year for a lot of people. But I am seeing more people who are rising up energetically to be able to work in the Akashic records and with the Ascended Masters, etc.
Absolutely. And I think, the Akashic Records are becoming more mainstream as
Yeah.
well because they are so helpful, because they are here to help us to evolve, to help us to awaken to um, different lifestyles, I think is probably the best way to put it. We've very much been in this kind of patriarchal cycle of we've got to go to school, we've got to get grades, we've got to do dot, 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 right? And that energy is starting to break because it's not working. It's not what we are here to do. We're here to live, we're here to grow, we're here to expand, but we're here to experience as
Mm,
well. And if you look back over the years and our lifetimes, we've done the same things, right? Because that's what we were told to do. And
yeah.
that is breaking down. And as those things break down, things like the Akashic Records become more mainstream, and people can start to connect into that to understand more about their soul, their journey, and what they're actually here to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting. I bumped into a friend in the supermarket the other day, and she was going, "Oh," she said, "because what you do is so mainstream now." She said, "I see it everywhere. You're in the pubs, and there's people here and people there doing readings, da, da, da." And that's actually been the case for a long time, but people are becoming more aware. But when
Yeah,
you look at what has happened, certainly in our lifetime, I mean, even as recently as the early 2000s, when people talked about going for a psychic reading, you might as well have been saying you were going to see a backstreet abortionist or something, because going for a reading, shh, and it was
yeah,
really dark and black, and you
mm,
found them on the end of the pier, but you didn't talk about it, and you'd go down a little dark alley and make sure nobody saw you going in.
yeah,
Now it's so much more out there. We're so much more in the light. Um,
yeah,
and I think that's why the Akashic Records has really come on, because when I was first into it, most people, if you said to them, "Oh, I love working in the Akashic Records," they go, "What?"
yeah,
Because it just didn't hit most people's radar. Whereas now I see a lot more people who are drawn to that, or they've heard of it, even if they don't really do a lot with it. And there's a lot more people working in it. So I really think like the vibration is changing. And I personally think that's an amazing thing.
for sure. We have all of these resources that are available to us to help us to live an aligned, exciting, freedom life, but they've been hidden, right? And they've been hidden collectively. It's not that one person is hiding them, it's the fear of what we can become once we start connecting in with these. Once we start understanding our souls on a deeper level, then some of these structures and institutions are going to come crashing down, right? It's
Absolutely.
why they've been kept hidden from us, and why the media portrays readings and spiritual growth and all of those things as dark,
Mm.
witchy, all of those things. And that is something that really needs to change. These tools and resources are available to us, freely available to us.
Yeah. I wonder if some of that is due to the 60s. You know, we had the summer of love, we had the new agers and the hippies, and there
Mm.
was lots of communes and things like that, which is just rife. It's open to abuse, let's be fair, because
Yeah.
a lot of the people who wanted to break away from society were the vulnerable.
Mm.
Whereas now you've got strong people like JFK Jr. Not saying I'm a fan or not a fan, I'm just using his an example. You know,
Mm.
he's very, very powerful and he's breaking away from the traditional narrative.
Mm.
And I wonder if it was something that the powers that be used. So
Yeah.
it suited them to make that out to be something bad. And of course, anything like that attracts um, the people that want to use it and abuse it. So, you know, you get the like Manson and stuff like that, you know, anything that they can use to have the edge, whether it's religion, spirituality, money, whatever, you know. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of things go through that. Look at cryptocurrency, you know, all the criminals and the people with nefarious intention
Yeah.
go rushing towards it, and then we have to clean up behind them so that people like you and I who aren't criminals or have malintent can come in. So I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of reasons why it's been suppressed and it hasn't really suited the powers that be, but I
Yeah.
definitely think that since the internet got so powerful and they can't hide stuff, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, people, just saying. I think that the power of the internet has meant that you can't keep people quiet,
Yeah.
you
For
know,
sure.
not even on good stuff. You know, you can't keep a secret between two people, let alone if the internet's involved. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think that's massively playing a part. And so the more people get to hear about something, the more they
Mm.
want of it.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we're very grateful that the Akashic Records are coming more and more into the open because we have things to heal. And when I'm talking about healing, I'm not talking about fixing ourselves. I'm talking about remembrance, the
Mm,
remembrance of our gifts, the remembrance of our powers, our purpose, our mission. All of those beautiful things are available to us by accessing the Akashic Records. And that's life changing.
yeah.
It really is life changing to understand your purpose and your mission, to know that these gifts that you have are there for a reason,
Mm,
right? And, you know, if you look at that for a moment, so I don't know, let's take one of the Gallagher brothers, for example, right? They know that their purpose and their mission is music, right?
mm.
And it's to heal the world with their music. They make lots of money, freedom, all of the things, right? So they've got, in essence, apart from their issues and their problems that some of them have, um, but they know and understand that their purpose is music.
Mm,
Whereas for us as spiritual women, we have been told we should give our gifts away for free, and that, you know, we're too powerful, we shouldn't talk about our gifts. And I feel that, you know, the Akashic Records can really help us to understand our gifts. Not that we're just here to be a psychic, but we're here to be a change maker, a leader, whatever it may be. In the same way that the Gallagher brothers used their gifts to create their lifestyle.
absolutely. And I don't think we can put a label on what we do because there are so many different
Yeah.
ways for us to do what we do and so many
Mm.
outcomes. But it feels like when you're talking about that, that really our role is to help people turn back to themselves, to
Yes.
their spiritual essence. Because
Hmm.
when we were on Atlantis, we were highly intuitive, highly evolved, and then of course we messed it all up as man is wont to do.
Yeah.
And we're only just now, all these hundreds of thousands of years later, starting to rediscover
Mm.
the potential that we have. And through the Akashic records, we can help people understand what they're here to express. I did a free live in my group on Saturday about life purpose, and there were
Mm.
loads of aha moments for those watching and those that watched it after we'd finished.
Yeah.
And just knowing that you're on the right path is really powerful. So
Yeah.
bearing in mind we got 2026 just around the corner, like 1 month away,
Yeah.
how would you use the Akashic Records for the coming year?
So for me personally, I would use them to understand my personal life on a bigger basis because my personal life affects my business life, and then I can tune into the business side of things and what I want to create, but also what I am here to create to make sure that it's in alignment and that I'm fully in alignment with my purpose, my mission, my divine blueprint.
Yeah,
So I use the Akashic Records personally to go in and look at any offers and pricing and ideas and content and like everything.
yeah. And I don't work the same as you. We've said this before, we work quite differently. So when I'm using it for myself, I
Hmm.
will check the energy and the alignment because we change.
Yeah,
And, we were talking about this before we started recording. So many people have told me that this has been their annus horribilis. There's people whose businesses have just been financially kiboshed. I've
yeah,
got lots of friends who've lost their fur babies. I've got lots of friends who've lost parents. And okay, we know that that's going to happen, but it just feels like it's come so much on the heels of so much other rubbish.
yeah,
And just looking at the economy in the UK, you've got the cost of living going through the roof, you've got utility bills going through the roof, you've got other things that are working against businesses. Um,
hmm,
and there's just been such a hard time since lockdown for businesses, but
yeah,
also for a lot of people. And I call it lockdown hangover. People wanted lockdown over, and I was
yeah,
reading for them, and they were just going, "Yeah, I want this done. I don't like this. I want to go back to how it was before." Then we did go back to how it was sort of before. And then a few months later, they went, "Yeah, this isn't working for me. I don't want this anymore." So lockdown
mm,
was a massive wake up, but they
yeah,
trying to work in that energy of who we were before that. So
yeah,
as our energy changes, what we're aligned to, what we're here to do, what we want, what we're supposed to be doing, all changes.
yeah,
So I'm working with people where we're looking at what they can learn from 2025
yeah,
and what do they need to change, transform, heal for 2026, because
yeah,
the energies feel to me hugely different.
for sure, for
Um,
sure.
and if I was a numerologist, I would be looking at what year this was for them and what year next year is for them. But I can do that energetically in the Akashic Records.
Yeah,
And this year feels like it's very much a breaking away, a letting go, a
yeah,
almost demolishing. This is
yeah,
the tower from the tarot. Pick up
yeah,
the bits that you can't survive without, get rid of the rest, move on, rebuild. So
yeah,
I feel like we're having everything stripped away from us this year,
yeah,
ready for next year's energy. So I would be looking at my people and finding out what they need to know for 2026 so that they can
yeah.
be ahead of the game.
Absolutely. So I did my weekly reading, as I do for YouTube every Monday, and it was all about recalibration and letting go of, all of those fears that we carry. Being
Yeah,
spiritual women, we've all been through the witch wound, so
yeah,
that came up massively. Um, Divine masculine, so being in that wounded masculine energy where we're all hustling to make the business work, right? Rather than being
yeah,
an empowered masculine where we're taking action, but we're in divine flow. What else came up? Embodiment, because we're not embodying the messages that we are receiving.
yeah,
When we have readings and things like that, and we go into the Akashic Records and our guides give us information, or you do a card reading, whatever it may be, you have to embody what the message was. It's not enough to just keep having readings and going into the Akashic Records. If you don't embody that information, i.e., take action on
mm,
it, nothing's going to change, right? And that
no,
came through so clearly in this week's reading that we've got to make change. We can't just keep doing readings in whatever form and getting information and then ignoring,
mm,
because this is a time for change. December is a really powerful month. We need to recalibrate our energy.
Yeah, we do. And this Thursday, which is the 4th of December, we've got the cold moon, which is the
Yeah.
last super moon of the year. Use it for good, people. If you want my super moon ritual, drop me a comment. I'll send you the email. It's about letting go. It's about changing our energy and elevating ourselves. We've also got the 12/12 portal that opens on the 12th.
Yeah.
So more change and transformation. So really December, we need to be preparing, like you say, for the coming year. And I think it's important also to look at what the Akashic Records is not.
Yeah.
And for me, the Akashic Records is not something that's just going to make the change for you. You can't
Absolutely.
get all the answers to the maths test in the Akashic Records.
Yeah.
There's no growth in that. So I can go into the Akashic Records for somebody and help them discover their life purpose, but I'm
Mm.
not going to just tell them what their life purpose is.
Yeah.
And I can go into the records and find out if somebody has a soul contract that they need to work on or a vow that's holding them back. But I can't do the work for them. So you're not just going to get the answers on a plate and go, brilliant, that's that sorted.
Yeah.
It's more about here's a load of tools and information, go and then use that to create what you want. Like
Yeah.
if this was the good old days when you went through the pantry and went, oh, I've got a tin of beans and I've got some sausages and I've got an egg, what shall I do? I'll make something with it. So
Yeah.
go into the records, get as many answers as you can, but then use them to let go of things, use it to build things, use
Yeah.
it to understand yourself, the people, and the experiences that are around you. But the Akashic Records is not a shortcut to ascension. Let's face it, because we're all on the path to ascension, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything we're doing is about raising our vibration, ticking all the boxes karmically, and becoming pure energy. There are no shortcuts.
No, exactly. Exactly. I think, that's important. And we can look at future projections, but
Mm,
we don't predict as such like you do with tarot. So
yeah,
I think that that's quite interesting as well because they are there to help you for growth, expansion, ascension, right? So they're not going to be for people that aren't willing to make the change, that aren't willing to embody what the records are telling you. They're there as a tool for growth.
absolutely. And, we're going to organize a date to do some Akashic Records readings for 2026.
Yeah.
And definitely, I would recommend that anybody that buys a ticket and comes along, what you get in your reading, write it down, journal about it, look at how you can bring it into your life, how you can use it to get rid of things or people that aren't serving you. Be prepared to take control of the tools we're giving you and use them
Yeah.
wisely. It's about empowerment, it's about being the one in charge. Whereas I think a lot of people this year, they've certainly had analysis paralysis. It's like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'll just carry on doing what I've been doing.
Yeah.
Um, and I think a lot of people have been shying away from taking back control and being the one in
Yeah.
charge. They've just gone with the flow and it's
Mhm.
not sitting right for them. It's not working for them. So I honestly feel that this is the time for any of you guys that want to be the one calling the shots. This is the time to take back that power and do it.
Yeah, 100%. Like that's what is rising in the collective is the things that are out of alignment, whether it's the job that sucks the life out of you, or whether it's that toxic relationship, or whether it's, thoughts, patterns, behaviors um, that are holding you back. All of this is coming up to be released. So, releasing all of that on the last full moon of the year is going to be really powerful because we don't want to take this junk into 2026.
Hell no, definitely. I know I don't want to.
No.
And what I would say is that when we go into the Akashic Records, we can find out what our soul contracts are. They're the things
Yep.
that we have agreed to do with other people. Like
Yep.
I'm going to be in a relationship with this person and they're going to teach me to have strong boundaries, or I'm going to be teaching them independence, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And so the Akashic Records can help you understand why certain things keep happening.
Yep.
And when you know you've got a theme or a soul contract or a vow that's getting in the way, you can either work with it, because the soul contract's going nowhere till you've dealt with it, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
but when you know that it's there and it's got to be dealt with, you can go, right, I'm going to focus on that. So let's say it is about boundaries, because I'm reading for
Yeah.
a lot of people at the moment where boundaries keep coming up.
Yeah.
Um, you know, how strong are you with your own boundaries?
Yeah.
I've got a few tests going on at the moment that wants me to renege on boundaries that I've put in place because they suit me and they work for me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
do I give in or do I just go, no, I'm sorry, that boundary's there for a reason. So I'm being tested. I don't get a free ride just because I know what I'm getting into. I know about
Yeah.
the Akashic Records. I don't get a free ride. Are you feeling really tested at the moment as well?
I was feeling a little tested. Yes, I really was. But things are moving quite swiftly
Good.
now for me. So in terms of, being out there, being more visible, but that's because I've really dealt with my witch wound.
Excellent. Well done.
Thank you very much.
And
So
that is an exact example. You can try and run away, you can try and hide, but it's not going anywhere. So
yeah,
if you want life to get easier, you're better off turning round and fighting. Grab the bull by the horns and go, right, let's just get this sorted. I'm done. I don't want to be playing this game next year. So I think being able to find out what soul contract is getting in the way. If
mm.
you had a pair of shoes that made your feet hurt, would you wear them or would you take them off and get rid of them?
You take them off and get rid of them, obviously.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So why put up with something that's going on a spiritual level
yeah,
if you don't want it there? I mean, if you're enjoying it, happy days. But I don't know many people that enjoy pain and misery and grief and, all sorts of other rubbish. So let's use
absolutely.
the Akashic Records to help you find out what you need to tackle, what you need to come at head
Yeah,
on. And sometimes it's not even about fighting it. I think sometimes it's about just knowing that
yeah,
your soul is the warrior at its heart. So, for instance, you buy a stick of rock and it's got Brighton all the way through it.
yeah,
Your soul has an archetype.
yeah,
And if you know that you're the mediator, the warrior, the teacher, you can find ways to work with that.
yeah,
And the warrior doesn't necessarily come out with its sword to fight in a war, but the
yeah,
warrior might be fighting inequality or fighting the system and going, no, this doesn't work for me. Okay.
yeah.
Um, and so the warrior can manifest in many different ways, same as the teacher can
Mm.
manifest in many different ways. So I think there's a huge amount of mileage from delving into your Akashic record
Yeah.
and just learning how to work with what's going on or learn to get rid of it.
Absolutely. Awareness is the key to opening the door.
Mm, yeah, I think
Right?
so.
Awareness is so powerful. Once you have that understanding of why you do a certain thing or why you put up with something or why you can't find your perfect job or whatever it may be, having that awareness can literally change everything. Then from that point, you can start to heal, release, embody, whatever it may be. So it is a great starting point.
It really is. I think, more people should delve into their Akashic records. I think at some point
Sure.
it will become as mainstream as reading your horoscope.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
For sure. So, let's talk about how we access our Akashic records.
okay.
So, I teach three different ways to access your Akashic records. So, in the traditional sense, where we go into the records through Akashic journeys and being guided into the Akashic records so that you can then guide yourself.
Yeah.
I also teach a more conscious way of doing that, and that's through working with the Akashic records with a pendulum.
Oh, okay.
So lots of different charts for specific reasons. And then you use a pendulum. So you open your Akashic records and you can use a pendulum to get the answers. So for more logical thinkers, I feel that's a great way to do it.
Yeah,
And of course, the third way is through the Akashic Soul Alchemy Oracle deck.
obviously.
Of
Yeah,
course. So when I'm taking my client through the Akashic Records, I take them in and I start at the fourth dimension, right? So I will go in and I will take them through like what I call a transition tunnel. And that will tell me what's going on around them now, because that's the fourth dimension, the psychic kind of energy
yeah.
that you're picking up. So I will walk them through everything that I feel and see within that transition tunnel. And then we will go into the Akashic Records where we can look at the book and all the lives and the contracts and all of the things, depending on whatever they want to look at. So I
Mm,
think that's probably a little bit different to how other people do it. So that's what I teach in the records is to go into this transition tunnel to understand what's going on psychically, because that's where your energy is
yeah.
at that point, right? That whether you know it or not, that's the energy that I'm picking up from you that tells me how you are living and being
Mm.
in that moment.
Yeah, I'm reasonably similar. I don't do the pendulum one. I really need to come and spend a weekend with you and we'll have an Akashic Records weekend.
That sounds
Um,
great. At the
so,
vineyard.
so I do the traditional, which is the guided. I go with, I can't even speak traditional, like prayer and all of that, because
Yeah,
some people need ritual. Some people
yeah,
need holding by the hand.
yeah.
But mine's a 2 day workshop. So as I move through that, we try the quick way to access the records, which is very intuitive. And I let
Hmm.
people choose what works for them and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And then depending on the numbers on the
Hmm.
workshop, we will spend time going in to find out what's going on for our soul.
Yeah.
And then because a lot of people find it much easier to read for other people because their judgment and conscious brain doesn't get in the way,
Yeah.
we'll read for each other. And I
Yeah.
very much use it as a almost like a therapy tool,
Yeah.
bringing healing from past lives, letting go of things, understanding themselves going forwards, getting insights into what they signed up for and who they signed up for.
Yeah.
So I do come at it from different ways because
Yeah.
I'm really appreciative of the fact that everybody's different and not everyone's going to enjoy the same method.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's good to know the different methods,
For
even if
sure.
you don't want to use those methods.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I've put the pendulum and the guided in together. But mine is a 12-week course for the beginners
Right?
that is live once a week. So there's lots of different things that we do in there. So once we've connected with the Akashic Records, we can go and retrieve gifts or
Yeah.
understand our soul contracts, or there's lots of different things that you do in there. So we are all different, and that's why we wanted to bring you this episode today, so that you could see how we work differently, but we get the same results because we're working with the Akashic Records. So, some people like now I can just go, right, okay, can you open the Akashic Records and they're open, right? I don't have to go through like what I teach at the beginning, which is very, very structured in some
Hmm.
respects, right? Now it becomes more easy because we're doing it
Yeah.
all of the time, but we'll all do it differently. Some people will see like if you're visual, you might see a movie screen when you ask to see a past life, for example, or you
Yeah.
might know information, or you might feel information, or you might hear information. So again, it's all down to our gifts, our clairs, and how we work individually as to how we work with the Akashic Records. Our guides will guide us in
Yeah.
the best way, right, to do that. So I don't know about you, Tracy, but mine has expanded massively since I started, and saying the prayer and making sure I'm energetically ready and doing some rituals and all of those things. I still love the rituals,
Yes.
100%, but now I use oils to raise my vibration and all of those things. So there are so many different ways that you can work with it. It's not rigid, is what we're trying to say, I think, is
Yeah.
that, we can all go in, it's accessible to everybody.
Yes.
Everybody has their own Akashic records, right? And learning to connect with them is life changing.
Yeah. It is for everybody that goes in them. I know, I don't think I've read for a single person where we've looked at their Akashic record where they haven't had some form of an aha moment. It might be like, oh my God, now I know why me and this person don't get on, or oh my God, I know now why me and this person just hit it off and we connect and it feels like I've known them forever, even though they've been in my life 5 minutes, or
Yeah.
they understand a behavior or a response. And so it's really, really powerful. And I think that certainly the people I'm working with now are coming at the Akashic Records from a very different angle. And I
Yeah.
think next year, my Akashic Records workshop, I'm going to expand it and make it longer because there's just so much for us to do.
Yeah.
And I think that the more practice people get, the better.
100%. And practicing with the community of supportive, like-minded women is going to give you the confidence, the practice, and the know-how as well, which I think is important. So,
Yeah.
obviously, if you want to know more about our courses, then let us know. We'll drop them in the comments anyway. But if you'd like to know more about the Akashic Records in general, if you'd like us to do a show on or an episode on a particular aspect of the Akashic Records, let us know. Because we could both talk about the Akashic Records all day. So yeah, we'd love to know what you'd like to know more about. If you want to know more about generational healing or soul contracts or past lives, then let us know. There is so much that we can uncover within the Akashic Records.
Mm,
But also, we have an event
we do.
coming up on the 18th of December.
Yes. Looking forward to that.
Yes. So, do you want to tell everybody what
Okay.
that's about?
So Susie and I are going to jointly host this event. It's live. It's going to be on Zoom. And it's ticket only, and numbers are very limited because we are going to give everybody a reading. Hopefully, from my point of view, anyway, because I don't know about Susie, I'm going to be looking at what you need to know for 2026. What is it that the records want to give you a heads up on so that you've got a head start for next year? As I say, lots of people have had a annus horribilis this year, so let's focus on the energy of next year and what it's holding for you and what you can do to get the best out of it.
100%. So, yeah, I'll be looking at what your soul wants you to know for 2026 so that you are aware of what you're holding, what's ready to come in, what's ready to leave, and all of those things. So, we are limited to 12 people. Is that right, Tracy?
Yes, we are, because we want to make sure that everybody's going to get a personal reading. It's not a general thing. You can't do a general with the Akashic Records. It's very hard to do that. But also, it's very much about giving you the tools to understand yourself, where you're at now and where you're going.
Yeah.
And it's going to be very, very high energy. So we're limiting it to 2 hours because that's a long time to be in the Akashic Records energy. It will
Yeah.
feel fabulous, don't worry, but it is a very high energy. So if you want a ticket, DM us. I will have the links already later today. And it will be £15 a ticket. Did we list? No, 20 was it, wasn't it?
£20 a ticket.
£20
Yeah.
a ticket. Sorry, I'm thinking of a different event. £20 a ticket, 12 maximum, and it's first come, first serve.
Perfect. I'm looking forward to that.
I think it's going to be really fantastic. It just has
Mm.
such a great feel to it.
Yeah.
And I know that the 12 souls that will join us are going to get so much out of it. So definitely bring pen and paper because you are going to want to journal on what comes up.
Yeah, absolutely. And book your tickets straight away because 12 is going to sell very, very quickly.
It absolutely will.
Awesome. So I don't know what we're going to talk about next week. We'll see what the audience would like us to talk about, but I'd love to stay in the Akashic Records.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind delving a bit more into ancestral karma. That could be really interesting. Again, especially with the end of the year coming.
Yeah, 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 100%.
But yeah, we'll see what people say. So do drop your comments, do send me a message or send Suzi a message. We're happy to bring you what you want, but we don't know unless you tell us.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, have an amazing week. We look forward to knowing who's going to join us
Yes,
for the event, which we haven't named yet, but we will name it. It's going to be a very special name. So we look forward to seeing who's going to join us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
we do. So remember to please like us, subscribe to us, do share us and tell all your friends and family. And if you can leave us a review, that would really help with the algorithm. And
Yes.
we'll be back with you next week.
Awesome. See you then.
Bye.